Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife video for you. Today we have a bit of a collection update. Today, it's the Protechs. I had not been into Protech when I first started. I just associated them with purely autos, and so I wasn't really into autos for a bit. Now I definitely am. And first one I got was this Mordax. We'll get to these as we go in order from left to right here, but I did get a Mordax. It was not this one, it was a prototype. That's the one made by Protech, fair and forged design, marketed through Drop. We'll talk a lot more about that when we get to it. I had the prototype of that a bit over a year ago, and then I went to Blade Show and I got an SBR. That was almost exactly 1 year ago, and now this has happened. So you can say I like the brand a lot. All made in the USA, all extremely high tolerances, just very, very well made knives. A big fan of the company and about the nicest people you can possibly deal with. I will say that most of these are pretty base versions, so that's the pricing that I'm going to be giving here. But any of these, with the exception of the Malibu because it's brand new, and the Mordax because they make it for somebody else, you can spend whatever your tiny little heart desires on one of these. They start out, most of them, well below $200, but they just go up and up and up from there. You can customize the crap out of them. I guess the Invictus too, they don't really have any custom versions of, but they do ones with hand scrolling and all. You can spend a couple grand on a Protech if you choose to. But if you don't want to, you can just buy the more basic versions. It's kind of the opposite of what custom companies do, where custom companies, make a really fancy custom version and then, later on offer a production version made by somebody else or whatever. Protech just makes their own, and then they come out with all these great production versions, and then they slowly introduce every now and then small handfuls of really high-end, really well done, beautiful custom versions of their production knives. I think that's a pretty cool way to go. I do like that. If you're a real Protech enthusiast, then you might want to save around and look up and find one of the higher end versions. I am thinking about doing that with a particular one of these. I will get to that. I'm keeping my eye out for the right one. But let's get started left to right. This is by no means all of their models. They have a whole lot. But first up would be the Calmigo. This happens to be the Calmigo Tron. You're looking at about $125 starting price on a Calmigo. I think this Tron one was $140, but then it just goes nuts from there. They have all kinds of different custom versions. That's pretty much true with all these, like I said. But the Calmigo is named such because it is California legal. It has a less than 2-inch blade, so it's just got a little bitty blade on it. Really good fifth pocket knife. Like all Protechs, this is going to be a theme going throughout here, especially in all the autos. These are not all autos, though, so if you're or not an auto fan or can't own an auto, don't worry. There's a couple manuals in here as well. But it bangs. All of them are like this. All the autos just have such a good pop to them. This one does have a safety on it. Meh. Not in love with safeties. It has a recessed button. I don't think it really needs it, but I get the California legal thing. They're probably trying to be as safe as possible, so they put a safety on it. And as I said, this one has the Tron scales, which these milled pattern ones. This one is not long for the collection, though. I will say I really have no need for a fifth pocket auto, and I put it in my Trade Me Anything video. That's going to be linked here at the end. I'm still taking submissions for that for only like another day. I need to get off my butt and decide. Those are little fun videos where I say, trade me anything, and I choose one. It's in a package of some stuff. You can see that video on the end. I explain it a lot better there, but yeah, this one's not sticking around, but I do like it a whole lot. It is a really nice knife. I just don't have a need for a fifth pocket automatic. Next up, this is probably a whole lot of people's first Protech auto, maybe even their first auto, and I think it's a really good place to start. This is the Newport. Definitely a quintessential model for them. S35 VN steel. A lot of the other ones you're going to see here are 154 CM. That's just a steel that they use a whole lot, but this is actually S35 VN, a steel that us, for knife enthusiasts, for this price, which is again starting at 165, is a steel that we recognize in that price range. Excellent ergonomics, not horribly large. None of these really are too awfully big. We have a blade length of right around 3 inches. Sorry, I'm doing it off screen here. And overall length about 7 inches. But extremely good ergos. Very, very, very slicey blade. I have not done a full review on this. The ones I have done full reviews on, there will be links down below. I have not done a full review on this, but because it's just been out for a long time, so I just haven't done it. But it does appear in a whole lot of my top 10 lists. It was in my top 10 knives under 2.5 ounces because it is extremely light. It was in my top 10 best slicers. So it's been in a whole lot of top 10 lists because I do like it a whole lot. There's one flaw I have with the Newport. It's that really long deep carry clip. I wish it had a shorter one like you see, you know, on the SBR. I would rather have that mini clip. I'm sure if I called Protech and asked nicely, I could probably get one. But, you know, I am lazy. But this is one that has probably the most custom versions of any of the knives here. This and maybe the Whiskers. And I have been really thinking about getting a really fancy pants Newport, or at least maybe one with a rose gold and a carbon inlay. I've kind of thought about that. They're very, very pretty. But the Newport is just a fantastic knife. And I think if you're looking for your first auto, your first Protech, this is a really good shout. Definitely the Newport. It's a legacy model of theirs. It's kind of like their PM2 or something like that, you would call it. Next up, this is my first Protech auto and maybe still overall my favorite. I'm really not sure. It's about 170. This is the SBR Les George design. Again, S35VN, which I like. The original one I got at Blade Show was green with that kind of acid wash blade. I don't like green, so I did sell it, and I wound up getting the actual one that I wanted, just the regular stone wash and the black. They have a few custom versions of this, not quite as many as the other ones, but you can still get some fancier ones. You can get ones with textured handles and things like that. Les George logo on it. Not quite as slicey as some of the other ones, but I think what I like so much about it is there's two things. First of all, this hits harder than any of the other ones you're going to see here. It's just, wow. It hits shockingly hard. And the other thing I like is the ergos. For being a relatively small knife, again, off screen, I apologize. Yeah, 2 3/4 inch blade. It just fits my hand perfectly. And I like that it has the shorter clip. I like this one a lot. And jimping's in a really good spot. It's just a really good knife to use. It's just an excellent EDC knife, auto or not. I kind of wish they would do this in a manual just so more people could get to experience it. But yeah, it bangs. I love this thing. This is one that will definitely never go away. Unless I decide to get a different version of it. That's the only reason it would ever go away. Next up, this one is brand new. It's actually not even in dealers yet. It is going to be imminently. And by imminently, I don't mean, you know, like 2 months from now. I mean, maybe a week or two from now, you're going to start seeing these in dealers. This is the Malibu. This is a manual. It is not an automatic. You can spot by the flipper tab. It's a model that I'm going to say is probably my most anticipated knife going into 2020. This is the one that I was most looking forward to. Because I had experienced the Mordax before. I know that Protech can do a button lock manual extremely well. They also have the Cambria of their own design. This is also of their own design. But the Cambria came before, but you don't see those around too much anymore. But the Malibu, this is the Warncliffe blade. There's also going to be a reverse Tonto, and they're $200. And you're getting 20 CV steel, completely sterile blade, and just action on it is just phenomenal. Keep banging it off the studs there. But yeah, they went with a sterile blade on this one. Just says Protech on the spine. This is going to be a really hot seller, guys, for $199. The review, if you're watching this at the time I'm putting the video up, it is the morning of May 18th. The review is going up the evening of May 18th. So this is kind of a Protech day here. But yeah, again, the short pocket clip. Ergos are amazing. I'm not going to go this one as much because you're going to see the full review later. But yeah, spoiler, you know, I love it. It is fantastic. I was really anticipating it, and it came out just as good as I thought it would. Next up, this is one that I was not as interested in until Jeremy Russell loaned me his, and then I thought, all right, I got to get one. This is the Whiskers. This happens to be the BR 1.3, 154 cm steel we're back to on this one. And the ergos are good, and it has that very unique opening mechanism. The blade is almost as slicey as the Newport, really darn close. And I just like, instead of having a button, you see this kind of almost backlock arrangement. You just slide it sideways to open it. I think one of the things I like the most about this, other than in addition to the ergos and a pretty good blade, is you hand it to people and they don't know how to open it, and it makes you feel smarter than them. So is that childish and stupid? Yes. Yes, it is. Does it still bring me pleasure? Yes, it does. I've handed this to a whole lot of people and nobody knows how to open it, and it's just fun. It doesn't kick quite as hard as the SBR, the Newport, or even the Calmigo, really, but still bangs pretty good. And I do like it. Again, I wish it didn't have the really long pocket clip, but I'm always going to complain about that. It's my one complaint with Protech, or some of them had those really long pocket clips, but ergos are excellent. I wouldn't mind if that swedge started a bit farther back. It probably wouldn't look as good, but just have a little bit more of a flat surface to put my finger on. But again, not a large knife. Yeah, right around a 3-inch blade. And it's just a lot of fun. You can one-hand close all these, by the way. I'm doing them two-handed because of the way the camera is, but you can easily one-hand close all these. Next up, this would be my first Protech, I guess you'd say, the Mordax. Like I said, I had the prototype of this when they first came out, and it is just a great knife. About $240 when they're available on drop. They're only sold through drop, drop.com. They do come and go. They are currently in a go phase. You can't get them right now. But it's a pretty good value. 20 CV steel and just an amazing action. This is broken in a lot more than that Malibu is, so it's gotten even smoother over time. It doesn't run on bearings or washers or anything. It's just on the aluminum, but it works really, really, really well. No button stick, no anything. Ergos are phenomenal. It is a very large knife, is one of the larger ones here, and it's a full 3.5 inch blade, and a little thick behind the edge. That's the only problem I have with the Mordax at all. It's a little thick behind the edge, but the blade stock's pretty thin, and it's very high flat grind. It's still a really good slicer, but it could be better. I know there is a company that is doing regrinds on these. Somebody post a link to them down below. I keep forgetting who they are. Definitely a very Protech clip, but polished, and it's the shorter one, which again I like better. You can choke up on it really well. Same Protech quality construction you expect. Just really, really well done. And next up would be, this is a fairly new edition. This is the Invictus, designed by Prometheus Design Facts. Sorry, I have to do the accent when I do it. I don't know why, even though I'm not even sure they're foreign, but really, really nice knife for $280. It is 154 cm again, so people will complain about that. The reason why they use 154 cm and not CPM 154 is they've explained pretty darn well. CPM 154 costs a lot more, and the metallurgy in it, it is a powdered steel instead of being a normal steel like this is. That does make a difference. Sometimes they said they just don't, in that particular steel, they don't see much of a difference. So rather than charging more for CPM 154, they just stick with 154 cm because they honestly don't think there's that huge of a difference. This doesn't come in many custom versions, but it does come with a coated blade if you want that, or a half coated and stuff like that. And some have the red buttons, some don't. I like the red button. It's got a safety on it again. Yeah, it never gets used. I guess it's not really in the way. It doesn't really bother you, but yeah, and you can choke up really well on it. In the review, I mentioned there was some button squeak. That's pretty much gone. It's getting less and less as time goes on, but it's a great knife to use, and it's definitely another one I'm not going to get rid of. It's the most tactical Protech that I own, I guess. So wonderfully designed, beautifully made knife. I didn't even have this yet when I did that video a while ago of drawing my ideal knife and shape and stuff like that. I just busted out a pencil and started drawing. I had no concepts in my head, and what came out actually looked pretty similar to this. So I just thought that was funny. Then when I got this, I'm like, oh, that's almost exactly what I drew, and it is almost exactly what I drew. So, but didn't know at the time. Didn't have one of these. I'd seen pictures, but I guess maybe I had that in my head. I don't know. Anyway, obviously I like it because I accidentally kind of reproduced it in a drawing without even thinking about it. Lastly, this is a rare one. This is a Harkins Attack. It is a rare and unique one. They only make these every 4 years, and when they do, they're in very limited numbers. I'm not even going to throw out a number because I'm not positive, but it's low. $450 for this particular version. Again, they have some amazing one-offs that are just beautiful. Harkins design, the Attack means it is a dual action, not a double action. In autos, you often think of dual or double action, but no, this is a dual action. It is a manual and an auto. The reason why they make so few is this is more than a bit labor intensive to put together. But it is a very smooth manual. If you open it manually, it closes manually with this beautifully done little thumb disc, thumb trapezoid. But super smooth manual. I mean, one of the smoothest manuals I own, but it is not just a manual. There's also a hidden button. All you have to do is push down on the bottom half of this top scale. You can see it's going to rock up and the blade's going to fire out. And when it does, it fires out really, really good. When I got this, for some reason, I should have had more faith in Protech, but I kind of thought either the manual action would be a bit meh or the auto action would be a bit meh. No, they're both excellent. And should be. This is not an inexpensive knife, but the ergos are fantastic. It is 154 cm steel again, but very, very slicey blade, probably just as good as the Newport. And it has a milled titanium pocket clip on it, which is very gorgeous with this kind of hammered finish on it, sort of bronzy. Wonderful, wonderful knife. And this is just a story about how awesome Protech is. I was calling about, or conversing with them about these two, about the Malibu and the Invictus, and I happened to mention I kind of want one of those Attacks, and they said, you know, we don't make many of those, right? Like, I'm an idiot, I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't. And they said, yeah, you can buy one, but here are the options you have. And I didn't like any of them, because this does come in coated blades, uncoated blades, all kinds of stuff, different inlays. And I was like, man, I don't know. That's a lot of money for something that's not exactly what I want, and that I'm probably going to want to keep forever. So I think I'm going to pass. I really want the marble carbon with the stonewash blade. And Matt, the guy there I was dealing with, said, you know what, I just bought one of those 2 days ago, and all I've done is take pictures with it. It hasn't been carried at all. I'll just sell you mine out of my pocket, and I'll just buy one of the half-coated ones that was the other option. And I was like, sweet. I don't, maybe he didn't intend for me to actually say yes. Maybe that was one of those offers you make someone hoping that they're going to say, oh, no, that's okay. I did not. I was like, awesome. And sent him the money immediately to get it. So, but beautiful, beautiful knife. And, oh, some of the crazy versions of this are just nuts. You just have to just Google them and look at pictures. They're just beautiful. And again, it's another knife that you can hand to anybody, and they just use it like a manual. Don't even know that it's an auto, never will. Just fantastic. And I kind of wanted this because I've become such a Protech fan. I kind of wanted like a stopper, you know, one that would make me stop buying so many of them. I figured I'm just going to get the best one, the kind of the ultimate. Oh, I still got to use the liner lock. Even I forget that sometimes. No matter if you open an auto or manual, got to use the liner. But I kind of just wanted the ultimate Protech, and I think this is kind of the ultimate Protech of the moment. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This is my whole Protech collection. Again, I will link down below to the individual videos. Oh, one last thing I want to show you is their packaging is now awesome. It used to kind of suck, and now it's great. If you get one that was from last year, you get the 20th anniversary stuff, but now they have a really nice pouch. It's really cool magnet closed sliding package. A lot of people don't care about packaging. I do. Really nice boxes from Protech. All right. So now, again, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Links down below to the reviews of the ones that I have. And keep an eye out tonight. If you're watching this on the day it came out at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be the review of the Malibu. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe. Wash your hands.